Right, so hitting another session up here in Coolum on the Sunshine Coast. Trap bar deadlift is probably my primary athletic lift at the moment, so really focusing on that explosive speed and power transfer into running. So got 145 on the bar at the moment, and probably going to look at reps of 6 and have some good speed with the lifts. Obviously trap bars safer, probably more protective for your back as opposed to a conventional deadlift. So got 3 sets, sliced the living daylights out of my thumb earlier today cutting some watermelons, so I don't think it should impact the lift, but we'll see. It is so hot out here, like I've never been in a gym this hot before. It's cooler outside than it is inside, and I'm dripping with sweat. I haven't even hit one working set yet, so it's beautiful, honestly. All right, let's hit it. All right. Oh. Sure. Oh. Hands are so sweaty that I'm losing grip on the bar. Like my leg training or lower sessions aren't focused on size at all. Like it does not serve me at all to try and put on size. I've always had relatively kind of muscular legs just from running from such a young age. But it's about just building that power, building that speed. But for all of you guys out there wondering, like how do you balance running 5 days a week and also hitting adequate loads of lower body resistance training? It's bloody hard, honestly. I'm just gonna check if this is lined up properly. I have a feeling it may be cutting off my head. Oh, sorry, dude. But yeah, it is challenging. Like obviously when you're running that much, you feel the fatigue from running, let alone incorporating resistance training as well. But coming from someone who's had pretty much every soft tissue injury under the sun, it has to find its way into your program. And it doesn't need to be, grueling leg workouts that you see within the bodybuilding communities of people grunting and grimacing on the leg extension machine. It's not about that. We basically want to build tolerance in our muscles to withstand, one, the explosive nature of running, but also just durability. And that's what we're doing it for, so we can stay out on the park running injury-free. And yes, it's hard, and yes, I've gone very long periods of time without training legs thinking that I didn't have to. And each time, I think I've been wrong. So, lessons learned. It's still tough now. Like, I won't do many sets. This is my primary athletic lift where I load it up and try and move the weight pretty quickly, but I won't squat heavy. I'll do some RDLs for my hamstrings, a lot of eccentric control for the hamstrings. My calves tend to be quite strong, but I'll still work them. But it is pretty important. So if you are struggling to program for yourself, I'm sure there are plenty of good ones out there, how you can incorporate lower body lifting with your running. And at some stage, that's definitely something that I want to do, devise a program that can help, people like me when I was younger, trying to find my feet. Holy shit, I'm sweating buckets. Set 2. Hands sweaty, but I should be right. Let's go, come on. Kind of lost count there. I think that was 6 or 7. It's an intense lift and I can't keep count properly. One more set to go. I'm gonna flip it into portrait, so trust that I am doing another set. I'll keep the weight consistent, but yeah, it's cooking out here. But it's only getting hotter when I move in to the main gym. Yeah. Down here at the track this morning, we've got the speed session, so 6 400s and then followed by 6 200s. Pretty similar to last week where I was running them on the gravel path in the park. We're going to set out, we'll aim probably for a 72 average across all the reps. So 6 400s on 3 minutes. Just moved this session back a day so that I could have a rest after I travelled back from Queensland. The body's feeling somewhat refreshed, but we just got to keep playing through the program. This is week 3 now. There'll be another 4 weeks of training, and then I'll have a 1 week kind of lead into the time trial. So there's not really any sessions to waste. We'll head out here, good conditions, not much wind. I'm not going to flog myself, but still going to try and get a good hit out. So let's go. Rep 1, 68, so a little quick. Feeling pretty sharp though. Can probably look at a 70 second average across the reps. So just gonna stay relaxed, keep my rhythm. And that's all 400s really are, it's just a rhythm run. And that translates really nicely into the 2K because you need to find a rhythm that's suitable for yourself, find a cadence, a tempo, so you can kind of switch your mind off for a little while and stay on pace. So we'll keep hitting the reps. About a minute to go. Quick. Those who know me just know I'm absolutely terrible at holding myself back from an effort. I can pace, but just too quick. That was 66. So if anything, they're getting faster. This one will be slower. It'll be slower than 70. Because I have to set myself up for the last 2. So Anyway, I feel decent. Start to feel a bit of lactic on that rep though, but halfway through the fours. Rep 4, number 70, so at least it slowed up a little bit. 2 reps to go. Let's get these pretty sharp. Make the last one quicker than the 5th. Yep. Not too much else to say really. Legs starting to feel a little bit heavy, but all in all, pretty decent. Yeah, so much wonderful insight just then. But it's hard when you're trying to recover to talk into the camera, but we do our best. Let's get it. Collected that lady. 66. One to come. As we always say, last rep's free. And we're all boarding the pain train express to lactic acid. So I'm just going to be that was 61. I wanted to try and break 60, but and there's probably no point. Just get carried away. Let me know in the comments if you think that's very stupid and a good means to get myself injured for no reason. That's the 400s done. I've got 6 200s that I won't be able to film because I'll be running them from either side, so take my word for it that I'm doing them. I'll have like 5 to 7 minutes off. They were pretty good average. Cheers. Death, taxes, and running 800s on Saturday. We're out here again. We got the session 5 800s on 5.5 minutes. It's early out here. Been working a fair bit. Probably haven't slept as much as I've needed to, but that's all part of the challenge of the program, is trying to fit in the sessions, you know, as they are scheduled. And I guess that's the biggest challenge with, you know, that any structured training plan poses, because there's always going to be stuff that comes in the way of it, but you've got to find a way to push through and find a way to schedule the sessions in. Conditions are vastly different to what they were last week in the humidity of Queensland. A little bit blustery, but a lot cooler. So I'd say probably a bit more conducive to running some more consistent reps. As I mentioned last week, probably going to look at running each rep under 230. So rather than having one really fast last rep, let's try and run 5 as close to under 230 as possible. So that's going to be the focus today. Body's fatigued. It's been a relatively big week again, but keeping up. So sorry, I went to the tennis a couple of days ago and completely lost my voice. So I'm doing my best to front up again. But yeah, so 5 800s. Let's look at as close to under 230 as we can get, and we'll give it a crack. So
Yeah, it's daunting because they're always such tough sessions, and it really is one where you need to build momentum. So the first rep seems like a mountain to climb, and once you hit that first, hit that second, especially once you hit that third, you kind of come over the hump, and you can see the finish line. So 5 reps, they're tough, but we'll give it a good crack. So let's do it. $232. I don't know. That felt quicker. Yeah. It's just one of those mornings, like you just gotta get it done. You know, I don't feel like training. I don't feel like running. And that felt a lot quicker than what it was, so probably heavy legs. Probably just try to keep hitting 232. Can't speak, can't run. You have those mornings. Yeah, that just felt a lot quicker than what it was, but that's all right. Keep working. $227. Just way too quick on the first lap. I'm not finding it today. I mean, it was quick, but the pacing just wasn't right. So I'd rather slow it up and get that right. Some days it just feels like it flows. Today isn't one of those days. Just gotta find a way. That was 228. Again, went out too fast on the first lap. Definitely gonna wind it back a little bit. Not really much else to share. Just tough. Don't really want to talk between these reps too much. 227. One to come. Last rep's free. So far 3 out of 4 under 230. I've worked into it okay. Let's see if we can hold it. Nothing stupid here, just like a consistent last rep. Not like last week. Last rep's free. All aboard the pain station. Pain train to lactic acid station. Oh, we love this. We love it. Oh. 222. It's a good last effort. I need a spell. Just finished up with the session. Overall, the times were better. I pretty much hit what I set out to, consistent sub 230s. The first rep 232, but from there it was 227, 228, 227, 222. I know the times were good, but just it felt really challenging. You know, it felt like I couldn't get into much of a flow, much of a rhythm, but it's on those days where you're really struggling to find some consistency and some flow that you stick with it. And that's really the essence of a training program. It's what it's about, trying to achieve a goal that's just out of reach and requires a lot of, I guess, consistent effort and relentless application. So that's what we were about this morning. Just had to get them done. And as I was kind of mentioning before the session, it's a momentum game. Once you hit those first couple of reps, you know, it gives you some evidence that you are feeling okay, that you can actually perform on the day. So, and that sort of translates into life as well. Everything's a momentum game. The first step really is lacing up your shoes and stepping out the door. If you really can't bring yourself to go for a run, all you have to do is put on your shoes, lace them up and step out the door. If you run 10 meters and that's all you can manage for the day, so be it. But I guarantee you, once you run that 10 meters, you'll feel like running an extra 10 and an extra 10 and an extra 10. So just keep cracking in. Another 800 session in the book, so we'll keep building. Cheers, guys.
All right, so the recap on the week of running. So week 3 in the program, taking steps in the right direction again, which is really promising. The 2 sessions you saw were the 2 track sessions, and I've laid out the times obviously within those, and pretty happy with how they progressed. I'll touch on those as we go, but starting from the beginning of the week, Monday was that threshold effort run, so that was 10 Ks while I was still in Queensland, so it was a little bit hilly, really hot and humid, steamy. If you've been up there, you'd know those muggy conditions, but it was 10K, 4:17 pace. Heart rate was a little bit higher than that run last week, which makes sense because, you know, I was at home, conditions were pretty mild. It was such a flat kind of course that I've ran so many times, so you easily know where you can really settle in and control your heart rate. But that being said, good session, good hit out. It was challenging. 4:17 definitely felt a bit quicker. I think it was average heart rate of, it would have been in the 170s. I can chuck the stats up there if I learn how to do it, which hopefully I can. It's not that difficult, but yeah, 4:17 for 10. Not an all-out effort, but a threshold where the heart rate does kind of push up there a little bit. So those efforts are getting stronger, which is good. Usually I'd do a session on Tuesday, but I flew home from Queensland that Monday night late. Like I got home at 1:32, so 1:30 to 2 a.m. between then, so I went to sleep pretty late. So I had a rest on Tuesday, worked all day, then ran Wednesday morning, which would usually be Tuesday on the track. So that was 6 400s on 3 minutes, followed by 6 by 200 on 1.5 minutes. So the 400s, as you would have seen, started out pretty quick. So from memory, 68, 67, 66. And then I made the call. I was like, all right, slow up that fourth one. Made that one 70, and then had a crack in the last two. So 66 and 61. Pretty quick last rep, had a crack. Felt really sharp throughout those reps. Just for myself, I wanted to run under 60 seconds just because, I don't really know why, just to tick the legs over and really let it rip off that top end. But maybe the next 400 session, when I'm really sort of tapering and feeling really sharp, I can have a crack at running a rep under 60, which would indicate that I'm in fairly good shape. So those 400s were good. They're starting to feel quite sharp. It's sort of getting to the point where I need to assess and be like, look, I've still got a good 4 weeks of training in the block, like including a deload week next week, which I'll still be doing some hard sessions in. So I need to be kind of picking and choosing where I'm really going hard. And that was one of the sessions where I did. The 6 200s averaged 32s, so that's pretty quick, pretty nifty, obviously well above my 2 kilometer pace, just to get a bit of speed in the legs, which was good. So that was a session on the track. Thursday, so the following day, was 4 1Ks, which is starting to become a staple session of mine. So 3:29 first rep, and those 1Ks were on 7 minutes. 7? Yep. No, 6. They're on 6 minutes. So 3:29, 3:24, 3:17, and then the last rep in 3:04. So getting quicker with each rep, and felt pretty comfortable, to be honest. Like, legs are ticking over nicely. That aerobic strength is starting to come through because those first couple of reps aren't as jarring as what they would have been in the past. So that was really promising. So 4 reps done there, warm up, cool down either side. So I think it would have been, around getting 8Ks in, which was a good hit out. That's really the aerobic strength interval session that gives us a good indication of where we're heading. So that was Thursday. Had a rest on Friday. Saturday morning was the 800s, as you'd saw. So essentially, the focus was consistently hitting under 230. So, which I was able to do. 232 the first rep, and as I alluded to in the video, in the clips, it didn't come easy. Those first couple of reps were they took a fair bit out of me. So to finish all those reps with good flow, good rhythm, and under 230 with a last rep of 222 was really promising. And the 800s are just such a staple session. You've got to chew those up, honestly. If you have a certain time you want to run in the 2K, I mean, obviously it is applicable to other distances, but 800s for a 2K is such a sweet spot because it really does replicate like a 2-lap phase of that time trial. So for me, if I'm getting close to hitting 2K pace for all of those reps, then I know I'm in a good spot. So that was Saturday morning, and then Sunday morning to end the week was my 8K. This was 8K, a little bit less than the week. No, I did 8K the week before as well, and that was at 5:45, 5:50 pace with an average heart rate of 150, I believe. So the heart rate's coming down on those runs, which is good. Probably indicative of an increased aerobic fitness, which is always nice when you're training for an event that is quite aerobic, like a 2K. So all in all, a positive week, heading in the right direction. I'm due for a deload week next week, which at the time of filming I'm currently in the middle of that. Sorry for the delayed. If anyone's holding on to their breath, waiting for me to upload this video, I'm sorry. Not that there will be many, but yeah, so I go back to footy training, which will be Monday, Wednesday, and there'll be some running involved there, and I'll hit a session on Friday and an easy run on Sunday. So a little bit less volume for this week, just to rejuvenate a little bit, and then there'll be 3 weeks of hard training into a 1-week taper before the time trial. I believe I've got that right. I'll have to look into it again, schedule-wise, but yeah. So, good week of training. We'll keep working hard. I had this analogy in my head. It's getting easier to run faster. I sort of picture it as like, you're trudging through this like heavy snow that's hip, like waist deep. And it's such hard work, you're working so hard to work your way through that really thick, heavy snow. And it's taking a fair while, but then you get into the clearing and all of a sudden you reach firm ground, there's less and less snow, and you're moving a lot faster. So those early weeks or those early sessions,
are going to feel a lot more challenging. And as you begin to build that fitness and that competence, it does, tend to compound, and you really become fitter. And the sessions become a lot more enjoyable because you're running quicker, you're feeling like you're running on top of the ground, your rhythm's really strong. And I just had that analogy in my head. I knew in the first few weeks of training it was going to be tough, but I'm starting to come over the other side now. The end result and the end day, as in the time trial, is coming closer, and I can kind of envision essentially running under 6 minutes and really having a good crack that day. So yeah, thanks for tuning in again, guys, and looking forward to getting the sessions in next week. Cheers.